Y Playa San.
Dice que te necesitan.
My name is Scott Dutepo. I'm the director here at the manufacturing plant, and I take care of all the TV operations for New Age, formerly Myrna. So I'd like to welcome you all to the facility here at Tahiti. I'd like to introduce some of my guys. This is Jamo, brothers. And Jimmy Columbel, they take care of the purchasing of the fruit. They take care of all the network of our noni farmers in the islands, and they receive all the fruit in where we transform it here to noni puree, and then we send it around the world. Here you can see, once the puree is finished, we send it to China, Japan, America, and Germany. So we'll show you a little later the process of how we transform that noni fruit into puree. Right now we're not in production today, sorry, but we can still show you guys the way that we do that. What was it? Yeah, we don't have production today. Sorry about that. But so I would like to give some time. You can ask me questions later or during the tour. But right now I'd like to give some time over to John Wadsworth, who he's been here for 25 years. He had his big experiences here in Tahiti and in Marquesas, and I'd like him to speak about that and let you guys hear about that. Okay.
So, can you hear me okay? Okay. I'm going to ask my dear friend, Edward Turau, to join me. So we're going to take together about 15 or 20 minutes, so please be patient. And we haven't prepared anything. I haven't seen Edward for some time, but we're brothers, and so as soon as I see him, I feel him. Huh? So on my first, you remember that when we started studying noni, it was known as nono. Even Edward knew it as nono then. The world did not know about it. And so I did some research in the States with a little sample that I had, but we could not learn more about it in the libraries. And so I came to Tahiti. This was before I knew Edward. Edward, I went to church, and he was head of the congregation at the church. And I don't know French nor Tahitian, but he knows English. And so we became not only close, I started staying with him in his home first. And Edward he had already a connection with all the islands because he was over the facilities for the LDS church, which had buildings on all these islands, and so he knew people in all the islands. And of course, after I had that experience on the island of Nukuhiva, which have you heard of the experience? Should I tell you or no? Everybody knows, huh? Masa maybe doesn't know. Where's Masa? Masa. So Masa, on that first trip, I'm going to talk to Masa for a minute. On that first trip, I was here for about 3 weeks, figuring out about the noni. It was actually nono. I met with Simone Grand. She was the Minister of Agriculture then. And she said I was crazy to try to sell this to Americans because it's such a strong flavor. It's a very bitter flavor. We looked around the mountains here, actually in the city, to see if there was a lot of no-no, and there was, but not enough, I didn't feel. I had a translator with me, and we stood on the street corner in Papiete and just asked people that were passing by, what can you tell us about no-no? And everybody had a story to tell. And about most every ailment. And so it was very interesting. And so, but we couldn't find enough no-no. So I asked, where can we go find a lot of no-no? And they kept saying, you got to go to Marquesas. And so I'm a little nervous about that because it's very expensive and I didn't have any money. So I asked the translator to call ahead and make sure there's a lot of no-no. And he called ahead and said there's a lot of no-no. They're very excited for you to come over. They're going to help you gather it up. They'll put it in a box and you should take it home. Still nervous about that, so I asked him to call 2 more times. The third time I asked him to call a different person. And he came back with the same response. And so we buy these airline tickets and we go to Nukuhiva. It's a very long trip. We go there again Saturday. See, I don't know who's going, but I'm going, and a couple other people are going here to Nukuhiva on Saturday. It's a 3-hour trip. Back then it was 4 hours. And when I arrived, we had to take this Jeep on the other side of the island, and then we were in this little one-room hut, and the translator was yapping. Finally, he comes over to give me more direction, and he says, we've got a problem. And I says, well, what's the problem? And he says, well, all the time that I've called over to make sure there's a lot of no-no, there is, but the word in Marquesian is noni, and the word so no-no is a mosquito, and noni is the fruit. And I was just shocked because I spent all this money to go over there. I had people laughing and calling me crazy, and I really was believing that they're right. I was really dumb. And so I says to the translator, just take me home. It's embarrassing now. Just take me home. And he says, well, that's another problem because the plane doesn't come back for 3 more days. And so after we drove over the island for whatever time we had left, and it was towards the end of the second day that we were on this mountain. And below this mountain was this valley filled with noni. And I had an experience right then that this fruit would bless the lives of millions around the world. And look what it's doing. And I might mention that any noni product that's been commercialized it really goes back to that moment. They're trying to copy the Ishinoni juice. It goes back to that. And so now that you know that experience, that's what drives me even today. Okay, so Phil is the executive here today. I'm not. But this is what drives me even today. Is Tahiti and family and the experience that I had on that mountain. So after that, I knew Edward, so I would come back many times during the discovery process. We needed to learn how to harvest the fruit, how to process it, and then how to ship it. And there was a lot of knowledge that had to be gained, and it was only through trial and error. And I had Edward because He's such a good person. So, I would live at his house, right? He had a front yard, and he has girls. So we had these 5 little girls running around, and we would go out and have people pick the fruit, and they would bring it to his house, okay? And we'd put it in drums. Am I saying it right? We would put it in drums, and then we would ship the drums to Morea. So before that, we would go to Dexter Cave. Remember Dexter Cave? we would go to a research facility not far from here, actually, that the government owned. And with Dexter Cave, we would research how to process the fruit. We tried to smash the fruit. Were you with us when we tried to smash the fruit in the floor? So we tried to smash the fruit. We tried many different things, and the best thing that we discovered was basically a paddle finisher. And that's what's used here is a paddle finisher that actually the fruit's dropped into this bin and it really smashes the fruit through screens, right? And you have this puree that comes out. But in the early days, we would pick the fruit, put it in the drums in Edward's yard, and then we would move it to Morea. Okay. Okay, so go ahead, Edward. So, no. I want to hear.
So with my family, we do it every Saturday morning because my wife is a school teacher and I'm working. So we didn't really think that Noni would be a good business because for us, Noni doesn't have any value in those days. Pineapple, we know the cost of the pineapple, but Noni, my dad thought we were crazy to be involved with this American people like the Noni. So we allow people to bring the Noni every Saturday morning. They are home. But because we're working, I have a sister-in-law that worked for a broker at the customs. And they had a truck. They had lift. So every Monday morning I call her, and they would come with a truck, pick up those drums and put it in the freezer. And then the day that the plant in Morea need those Noni were shipped to Morea, it was a system that could help me and my wife because John is in the States. And we did that a year and a half.
Yeah, this was before Morinda. This was on a hope and a dream. This was on a belief. And Edward was doing it for free. And I was doing it for free. We were trying to create this business together.
And I was using my dad's truck, my sister's truck, because we started to buy it from the neighborhood items. Not to find Marquise. Marquise was the last item. And then my dad said, maybe it's about time you ask the company your partner to buy your truck because those Noni are heavy. You know, the drum we have is 200 kilos. So when you have 5 in the back of my dad's truck, it's a ton. And then I think it is cheaper the freight from here to LA than from here to Morea. Very expensive. So we decided to move to another plant at the end of the island. But the problem is, when they knew we were going to move to that plant, the owner of the Coca-Cola Coke company bought the share of other owners in the plant. And I said, he has more share than us. And he started wanted to take over our business, but of course it's cheaper for us to be in we call it there, to prevent the safe expenses on the freight.
Okay, so at first we would do processing in the pineapple plant in Moorea. And I wish you had enough. Well, you're going to be going to Moorea. Are you with them, Scott, when they go to Moorea?
Yes.
On Saturday. I won't be with you because I'll be in Nukuhiva, but there's a little pineapple plant there. And so Edward lives here on this island, and I would stay at the Cook's Bay Hotel, which is closed now. It's right across the water from the pineapple plant. And I would walk around the bay. I used to tell people I'd swim across the bay. We'd walk around to go to the pineapple plant as we were processing for the first time. But then to Edward's point, he's a businessman, Edward is, and he learns that it's very expensive to go back and forth to Moorea, and so he organizes this plant owned by Jean-Pierre Foucard, who owned the other one too.
Yeah, he owns the other one now.
Oh,
Yeah, he's buying everything.
so Jean-Pierre Foucard is a big tycoon gentleman here in French Polynesia, and we processed there for a couple of years.
Yeah, the funny thing is, John had decided that we should buy that land. It was a good idea because it was closed. That plant was closed for almost 15 years. Nobody wanted it. It was a plant for grapefruit. We call it pamplemousse. But the thing is, they cannot take all size of the grapefruit. It has to be a different size. Small size. And so they closed the plant, and we went and worked in that plant for 3 years. And then John decided we should buy it.
Well, Jean-Pierre Foucard is a businessman, and he would increase the price all the time.
And I remember the meeting we had with, we call it notary. And John, I was there with John, and then we see all these 30 people coming to the meeting. And then we found out the 5 banks of Tahiti own also the plant, and other owners. And but nobody told us. So John had decided to leave the meeting, so we left the meeting. And I was quite sad because I wanted to have that land. And then I went and talked to the government. Please, we need a land. I wanted to build this plant in Papeete where we were. We used to be in Pirac. In Pirac, in Papeete. And he said, no, Edward, let's go to Mapea. And when we came here, I remember the board visited us, Jerry, John. It took 4 hours for the president of the government to sign everything and sign our lease. We're here for 90 years. So I think we have another one, 65 years.
So we negotiated this, Edward, and we had an attorney. I can't remember the attorney's name.
Yeah.
Edward found an attorney on our side, and we negotiated with Gaston Floss for this lease of 99 years. And it took, I don't know, close to a year to finally work through all the details of that negotiation.
Yeah, but when the board came,
It was finished, yeah. The negotiations were finished, and we signed it, so we have this property. It's 2.2 hectare, if I remember right, which is about 5 acres. And we built this facility, which supplies the world of noni from Tahiti. Now, I've learned that noni puree is made here. Noni puree is very difficult to find in the world. Noni fermented nectar is easy. The process is easier. Doesn't quite as expensive to create the process for that. But puree is very difficult. But no matter what product has been created for commercial use, Edward is the pioneer. He's the one that really created, together we created this process of how to pick and how to harvest, how to take care of it, how to process it. So this is where it all began. This right here. Not began. This was the second generation, maybe.
Well, I think John is the guy that motivates us to do it. Because here in Tahiti, we don't really care. We have fish, we have manioc, we have bananas. So whatever comes, we'll take it. But John came with that American strength. And I've been listening to him for 2 years. Even my wife say, I think this guy is crazy. Because I hope he knows he has a wife, he has kids. He had 12 kids, but he's always here. He's always here. And then for 2 years, I've been shipping 4 tons per year to the States. And I remember the first convention we had in Salt Lake City. I was surprised when I've seen about 200 or 300 IPCs. We were not prepared for that. They started to bottle the noni juice in July, I think it was 1996. And my dad, I didn't know that they knew about the noni before us. Because for us, noni is a poison. We don't even touch it. We don't even touch it. But so that when this guy came and said, no, we did some study and it's really good for health. So I went to talk to my dad. My dad said, he's right. The problem is the European make fun of us. Anything that comes from the Tahitian for medicine, traditional medicine, they don't believe in us because there is no scientific research. But my dad told me it's very simple. So after those 2 years, John and Kelly Olsen sent me a lot of email. Now, fax, we don't have email those days. No? They send me I have fax coming to, it was running around my bed every morning. I look at it, John, I can't. I was like, because 5 o'clock here is 9 in Utah. And, but after those 2 years, they wanted to hire me. But at 45 years old, it's very hard to quit my job. And the guy wanted to hire me. So I asked them some kind of guarantee. And they say, no, everyone, we're all going to be on the same ship. We're all going to be on the same ship. You know, we don't like that kind of talking. And I said, well, my wife said, well, why not? I'm a teacher. Maybe you should quit your job and follow these guys. So I asked 6 months. We call it, how do you call that? 6 months be on off for 6 months without salary.
Severance.
Yeah, I don't know how to call it in the States. And after 6 months, they told me you have to go. Can you imagine? For 5 tons a year, these guys 100 tons a month. Can you try to be in my shoes? We're here. We don't even have a warehouse. It's in my yard. What? My yard. So I told John, I need a bigger place than where I am. So I found a house. It costs $3,500 a month. You know, John is very tight. Oh, it was very expensive. I said, I can have an office here, my house there, big yard. We can have a party for the IPCs. I have a place to stock our drums and to work. When he accepted, and we stayed 10 years in that house.
I bet some have gone to a party.
We call it
at
the
that
Morinda
house.
home.
Yeah.
But when the government found out that we were able, I went with John to Marquises. John didn't have any money. I paid our flight to Marquises. I paid. I have to go and talk to the travel agency. Can you put on my account? and I'll pay you back. So when John went home, I said, John, remember, reimburse me. That's how we started. How we started. And we went to Marquise's. John told me we only had 3 days. 3 days to go to Marquise's. I don't know if you go by boat. It takes a week and a half. So we had to rent a helicopter to do it for 3 days. And we were able to get
Island to island.
100 tons a month we were able to get. We went to 800 tons a month. And just marketing couldn't keep up with us. That's how my team here, we had to go and talk to the people in Marquesas, the people in Leeward Island, the people in Australia, and Tuamotus. And I don't want to go further than that, but I know today, if we want to get to that goal again, we can do it. There's still a lot of wood. But all we have to do is talk to the people. I can do it. But the good thing with this company, we pay them. We pay the people. And Tahiti, French Polynesia, is the same size as Europe. But there's noni everywhere. But
So early we would harvest the fruit. It was wild. And in Marquesas, it's everywhere. We just met with President Fritsch, and he reminded us, or Manuel reminded us, that yeah, the pigs in Marquesas are very healthy because they eat the noni, right? But now because of the great growth that we had, there's a lot of farmers that have planted noni. Now the noni tree is very interesting because it will start producing fruit after a year or two in the ground, and it will produce continuously until it's 100 years old or more. It will just continue to produce, so it's the ever-giving tree. It just continues to give. And I told Mr. Fritsch yesterday that Tahiti is so blessed to have the pearl, but really the greatest gem of Tahiti is noni. I believe that. And so we're here to try to create a feeling among our people all over the world. You're representing that because we're bringing them back in November. We need to bring 100, 200 that qualify here. And you're the genesis of that. You're the very beginning of that. And the qualifications will be out very shortly. But to earn the qualification is now. And so we urge you to get with your groups and organize them so that they can come here to Tahiti and meet Edward. They've got to come and meet Edward and stand by him.
I'm retired.
We love you guys. We're going to do it.
Still, they've got to come here and
I
just...
prefer to be on a golf course.
Edward will take him golfing. He didn't know how to golf before Morinda.
Did they go?
He came to Utah once and golfed and bought some clubs, and now he golfs twice a week. So it's blessing the lives of Edward. He's a golfer now. He wasn't a golfer before. It will still bless the lives of millions, and it already has. But you know how many people are on the earth today? 7 billion. And there's only a fraction that knows about the great health benefits of noni. And noni from Tahiti is the very best noni on earth. I was led here to make this discovery. On a call yesterday, Brett mentioned, I don't know if John would have gone to, Hawaii to find the noni, what we'd be doing. I didn't go to Hawaii. It would have been simple. I went to Tahiti to do that. And because of that, this great generations upon generations are being blessed. And so let's make sure we bring our people here to meet Scott, to meet these great people, and to stand by Edward.
Love you guys.
Well, when I got a message from John, I think it was last week, he's coming to Tahiti. I said, oh, what's going on? Huh? It's like Obama was here a few years ago. He stayed on one of the islands here for, it was, oh, what is he doing? God? And when John said, I'm coming to Tahiti, I said, no, any explanations? Can we have lunch together? And then Isamu-san
Samson here.
sent me he didn't send me a message, but I knew he went to Hawaii. And then he's in Tahiti. I said, well, I hope he's not going to call me. He sent me a message, Edo, can we have lunch together? And I said, man, what's going on with this people? He said, it's the Nuni. It's, are these people going to do something better again? I'm not saying it was better, it's bad before. But everybody keep asking me every month. Fridge, everyone, how's the Nuni? Well, all the plants. I think it's still doing good. But, like every business, it's up and down. I think aircraft cannot stay a month up in the air. You have to land in, maintenance. The same thing with Nuni. And then Scott is my son. I have a big son. I have a Samoa, I have a Tonga, I have a Tahitian. And he sent me an email and called me, Edward, John and them will have a meeting, can you come? Well, when you retire, you always have something to do at home. And there's no stress. Even though your wife is with you, always telling you what to do. But that's the reason I play golf every Monday and Thursday, to stay away from my wife. But when Scott insisted that I should come, I said, okay, I will come to listen to John, what he has to say. But I'm glad to be here, and I'd like you to know that this business has helped our people. And we've been teaching our people that in life, you need everything. And we want to avoid the Tahitian to do just Nuni. They have to go and do cooperative fishing, farming, because the Nuni, when it comes to the month of July to the middle of October, it will slow down because it's cooler. But when it's a warmer season, there's more Nuni. And sometimes with our business, it's when the Nuni slow down, then marketing goes up. And when there's more Nuni, the marketing goes down. So can you imagine our task in this planet? So we have to adapt ourselves with this company. So thank you, John, and you're a good guy. So I'm not saying that we don't have any differences. We all have differences in this life. But I think respect is the word that whatever happened between us. And John is somebody that I respect a lot. I respect his wife. I used to stay in his home too, with his wife and his kids. I've seen his kids. Sometimes one we have, he doesn't. He has 12 kids. I have 5. Even with 5 girls, it's not easy. But all my girls told me, Dad, the Nuni stink. The Nuni stink. There's Nuni all around my house. And I said, the day you're going to smell the US dollars, it's going to, that odor will disappear. In fact, All my girls went to the States in school. I sent them home in school. And today, I have a younger daughter. She's analyst for a mattresses company in the States. And she's been wanted by a lot of big companies. She didn't want to stay in the States because youth have their own tradition here. So I sent 5 of them. And if I didn't have the money business, I don't think I'll be able to send them there. Yeah. So it's the same thing in Marquises. Parents use their kids, they send their kids back to Marquises to help them with this business. Even in Australia, they ask their kids, they come to school here, so come back. I need you to help me with this money business. That's what I wanted to say, and thank you and good luck. Good luck.
So if I may say one more thing, Scott, of course I respect Edward, but I've loved him for nearly 30 years. The greatest human emotion and motivation, I believe, is love. If you love the people you're around, you'll do things that you never thought you could do. And that's how Edward and I did that. But remember that Noni is the canoe medicine plant. That whenever they left one island to go to another island, they would take Noni as their medicine. You look at all the medicines in your cabinet. If you had to just take one, you had to leave your house real fast and you had to take one, which one would you take? I would take Tahitian Noni. I would take Noni because it addresses so many different ailments. And the people that you know need this. And even the people you don't know need this. And so let's get some energy together and bring 100, 200 people back in November. Let's have them qualify, which will take work. But Noni, as they share it, will bless their life. And that's love. So thank you. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
5 different archipelagos: Marquises, the Society Islands, the Tuamotu Islands, Gombe Islands, and the Austral Islands. There's 5 different island groups in French Polynesia. We right now are buying from 4 of them. Okay? We used to be in, I don't know how many, what was the most islands we were in? Do you know?
Not most islands, but most archipelagos, yes.
Yeah. I think we were in at least 50, 60 islands we were buying noni from. And now, Tamo, we're at how many? 12 islands we buy from. It's not enough. We need to push noni out everywhere around the world. We need to get excited. Our harvesters are very patient. They've stuck with us, but they have a lot of noni that they're waiting to send to us, and we can't take it all because there's nowhere for it to go. And like John said, Tahitian noni is the best in the world. And we say Tahitian noni, but that encompasses French Polynesia. Because around the world we say Tahiti, it's French Polynesia, right? So I would like to introduce Tiamo. Can you come? And Tiamo takes care of the communications with all of our harvesters, all of our islands. In the islands we work with representatives. The representatives work with the different farmers and harvesters. So Tiamo, can you please introduce our guests, harvesters?
Okay, so I will introduce the noni farmers. So we have, I can say maybe one of the first noni farmers. She already began in 1996. So I would like to introduce Mrs. Dorothea. Yeah?
You been there? Yeah. And we have also lip. So these are farmers here in Tahiti.
Yes. So one of the first Noni farmers, and she was young at that time, and now she's still young. So, thank you. And we have also Lynn and Fabrice. Stop. Fabrice is our Noni leads dryer. Noni leads dryer. Fabrice.
For those, especially in Japan, that drink the noni tea, yeah, he's the one that dries all the leaves.
And we have also Victor and Aaron.
I mean, younger. So all these harvesters here in Tahiti, they believe in noni, right? Yes. They all grew up with noni being used as a traditional medicine by usually their grandmas who prepare something when they get sick. They all know it works, and they're happy to know that all their fruits go around the world to help everybody, to bless everybody around the world. So please, round of applause for them. Nice to see you. Tomorrow you all go to Reatea, and there you'll meet the other harvesters in that with their representative over there. So they'll treat you very good. They have a really good.
But you know, what's amazing to me is you kind of feel that it's like kind of going to church here. I know it's like a sacred place. It really is. There's something that you can tell from the time you come up here. It's 30 years worth of history, of dedication, of love, of starting businesses. And I'm pretty close to the age of these guys. You go through a lot of experiences in life that are very difficult, and nothing comes without a lot of sacrifice, a lot of pain. It's kind of why we believe, my personal belief is why we're here on earth, is to see kind of what we do when things are hard. And the amazing thing is there's been a merger and a lot of different companies have come together over the last, particularly there's 2 or 3 years under this umbrella called New Age. And I love the name. It is a new time in a new age, but there's an amazing history behind the Noni portion of it. And what's been interesting for us is our commitment to move half of the company into the understanding of how powerful Noni is, that story. There was a lot of rumors that the merger under the New Age umbrella was going to get lost, the Tahitian portion of the business, that it was just something that was there, but it's not. It's sacred. It really, really is. And I'm here really to talk about that we understand that as executive team, that we understand the power, the relationship, and the long-term benefits that it has for the human race. Really, as John said, he felt that there was something in that plant that was going to change millions of people, and it already has. It's been, close to 30 years somebody's been taking it. So, and then the history behind that is centuries probably. So we're here. We are fully committed. We have a plan that is to expand the production, and it's not just going to be for I would say just the New Age umbrella. We believe that Tahitian Noni is so special. We have experts that have, and tons and tons of science, millions and millions of dollars have been invested in the study of this. And Tahitian Noni is special. We know that it's superior, and we're going to share that with the world in other cases, meaning we want to expand, we want to take away from other distributors of Noni that are outside of Tahitian and expand that, make that opportunity. It helps protect our intellectual property. and it helps put a lot more, back into Tahiti, which is the foundation of this stuff. So we've already started migrating any noni that we bought from other islands for different products that weren't part of Morinda. We've already started making all those translations into Tahitian product, and in the next probably 60 days will be 100% coming out of Tahiti. We've already did some formula changes and a few things, and as Brett's been dealing with a lot of these, even some of John's other companies, we're moving that all into Tahiti products. So we're excited about that. We're excited to bring people back, as John and I were saying. We know this is the temple spot for what New Age will become and continues to grow into. So I'm excited, and I want to, on behalf of all the other owners and executives and people that are really, they really want you to know we are committed here. It's not just words. We know this is the place to be, and it's amazing for me to actually come and feel, as John describes, there's a spirit, particularly in this building. You can feel it. It's palpable that there's something here. So we're excited, and we owe a lot to the harvesters and to the teams that have stayed with us through thick and thin, because it's been up and down in the last 30 years. It hasn't been easy. I can sense that in being in business 30 years. Whether you're in any country, it's pretty amazing today. Actually, there's not a lot of 30-year-old companies. So onward and upward, and we're thankful to have all of you here. And like you said, let's fill this room. We need to fill this room to full capacity when we come back in November. So thank you. Thanks for all you're doing.
All right.